Welcome back to Talk to the Doctor, the podcast where we explore natural, science-backed ways to stay healthy and active after 60. I'm your host, Emily Johnson, and today we're diving into a topic that affects everyone, but especially older adults: sleep, and how it directly impacts your muscle and joint recovery. If you've ever woken up feeling stiff, sore, or just not yourself, you might be underestimating the role of sleep in healing and rebuilding your body. In this episode, we'll explore how deep sleep repairs damaged muscles and joints, why poor sleep increases inflammation and joint pain, what sleep disorders are common after 60, and tips to improve your rest naturally for better recovery and energy. And stay tuned until the end, where Dr. Miller will share his Sleep Strength Circle routine, a simple nighttime ritual you can start tonight to wake up feeling stronger and more refreshed. Dr. David Miller is back with us, a trusted voice in aging, wellness, and natural recovery. Dr. Miller, welcome again.
Thanks, Emily. Always great to be here. Sleep is often overlooked when we talk about muscle strength and joint health, but it's absolutely foundational. Recovery isn't something that only happens when you're stretching or exercising. It happens at night. So I'm glad we're dedicating time to the subject. Let's dive in.
Dr. Miller, can you explain exactly what happens to our muscles and joints while we sleep?
Absolutely, Emily. When we talk about recovery, many people picture stretching after exercise or using ice packs for soreness. But the truth is, the most effective healing process happens while we sleep. Sleep is the body's built-in recovery mode. It's during this time that the body shifts its focus from activity and energy output to repair and regeneration. There are two key stages of sleep that play a role in muscle and joint recovery: deep sleep, slow-wave sleep, and REM sleep. During deep sleep, the pituitary gland releases growth hormone, which is essential for repairing and building muscle tissue. This hormone stimulates protein synthesis, supports muscle fiber repair, and even helps rebuild cartilage and connective tissue in joints. Think of deep sleep as the nightly maintenance crew for your body. In addition to hormone release, blood flow to muscles increases during sleep. This allows oxygen and nutrients to reach damaged tissues more efficiently, speeding up recovery from everyday wear and tear or more intense physical activity. Sleep also helps clear out metabolic waste products that build up in the muscles during the day. On the joint side, deep sleep helps regulate inflammatory responses. Poor sleep or sleep fragmentation is linked to elevated levels of pro-inflammatory cytokines. These are chemicals that can worsen arthritis symptoms and delay healing in joint tissue. When you get quality sleep, your body downregulates these inflammatory signals, which reduces pain and swelling. REM sleep, while more associated with dreaming and brain activity, also plays a role. It helps consolidate motor memory, which is crucial if you're learning a new exercise or working on balance and coordination. So sleep isn't just about passive rest, it's an active rebuilding phase for your entire musculoskeletal system. For older adults who may already be dealing with lower hormone levels and slower tissue repair, sleep becomes even more essential. Without it, your muscles don't recover, your joints remain inflamed, and you wake up feeling stiffer, more fatigued, and less resilient. So getting consistent restorative sleep is just as important as good nutrition and regular movement. It completes the triangle of healthy aging.
Why do older adults often experience more joint pain and stiffness when they don't get enough sleep?
That's an excellent observation, Emily, and one that many of our listeners have likely experienced firsthand. There's actually a very close and well-documented relationship between poor sleep and heightened joint pain, especially in older adults. This is mainly because how sleep, or the lack of it, influences the body's inflammatory system. When we don't get adequate or restorative sleep, our body's levels of pro-inflammatory cytokines increase. These are signaling proteins like IL-6 and TNF-alpha that promote inflammation throughout the body. In someone who already has joint issues like arthritis or rheumatoid arthritis, this spike in inflammation can lead to significant increases in pain, stiffness, and swelling, especially in the morning. Additionally, sleep deprivation negatively impacts the way we perceive pain. Studies have shown that people who are sleep-deprived have a lower pain threshold, meaning they're more sensitive to discomfort. So even minor joint aches can feel amplified after a poor night's rest. Another important factor is cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone. When we sleep poorly, cortisol levels can remain elevated. While cortisol has some anti-inflammatory properties, chronic elevation actually disrupts the balance of other hormones that help regulate pain and immune function. Over time, this dysregulation can create a vicious cycle. Pain disrupts sleep, and poor sleep worsens the pain. So in short, poor sleep increases inflammation, reduces pain tolerance, disrupts hormone regulation, and leads to sedentary behavior, all of which contribute to increased joint pain and stiffness. The good news is that improving sleep can significantly reduce these symptoms, even in those with chronic conditions. We'll talk more about strategies for better rest in just a bit.
What sleep disorders are most common in older adults, and how do they affect muscle and joint recovery?
That's an important question, Emily, and it's something we encounter frequently in clinical practice. As we age, our sleep architecture naturally changes. We spend less time in deep sleep, experience more nighttime awakenings, and our circadian rhythms often shift. These changes make older adults more vulnerable to several types of sleep disorders, each of which can interfere with the body's ability to recover properly. One of the most common conditions is insomnia, difficulty falling or staying asleep. Chronic insomnia leads to fragmented sleep, preventing the body from entering those crucial deep sleep stages when muscle tissue repairs and inflammation is controlled. As a result, people with insomnia often report waking up sore, stiff, and fatigued. Sleep apnea is another major concern. This condition, where breathing repeatedly stops and starts during the night, is especially common in older adults, particularly those who are overweight or have chronic conditions like hypertension or diabetes. Sleep apnea severely disrupts deep sleep cycles and causes oxygen deprivation, which impairs muscle oxygenation and slows tissue regeneration. It also contributes to systemic inflammation, which can worsen joint pain. Restless leg syndrome, RLS, and periodic motor limb disorder, PLMD, are two lesser-known but impactful conditions that can significantly disturb sleep. These disorders cause uncomfortable sensations or involuntary leg movements that fragment sleep and prevent sustained rest. Again, this reduces the time the body has to enter restorative stages that are key to muscle healing. So all of these sleep disruptions mean that older adults may be sleeping for an adequate number of hours, but the quality of their sleep is lacking. And without deep, restorative rest, the body can't adequately recover from the day's physical demands. That's why treating sleep disorders isn't just about feeling well rested. It's about supporting the body's ability to stay strong, flexible, and pain-free. Fortunately, many of these conditions are treatable, especially with early detection, lifestyle interventions, and in some cases, medical therapy. It all starts with recognizing that sleep complaints in older adults should never be brushed off as just part of aging. They can have real consequences for physical health, and real solutions, too.
What are some natural ways to improve sleep quality, especially for people over 60?
That's one of the most common questions I get, Emily. And thankfully, there are many non-pharmaceutical strategies that can significantly improve sleep quality in older adults. These natural methods not only support better rest, but also contribute to muscle repair, joint comfort, and overall vitality. First and foremost, maintaining a consistent sleep schedule is key. Going to bed and waking up at the same time every day, even on weekends, helps regulate your body's internal clock, also known as your circadian rhythm. A stable rhythm makes it easier to fall asleep and promotes more restful deep sleep. Second, limiting screen exposure before bed is crucial. The blue light emitted from phones, tablets, and TVs can interfere with melatonin production, the hormone that signals your body it's time to sleep. I often recommend shutting off screens at least an hour before bed and instead adopting calming pre-sleep rituals like reading a physical book or practicing gentle stretching. Speaking of routines, creating a relaxing wind-down ritual can signal your brain that it's time to rest. This might include taking a warm bath, listening to soft music, or doing some light breathing exercises or meditation. These small practices lower cortisol, the stress hormone, and help the body transition into rest mode. Your sleep environment also plays a big role. Keep the bedroom cool, dark, and quiet. Blackout curtains, white noise machines, or earplugs can all make a big difference. And let's not forget about the bed itself. If your mattress or pillows are over 8 to 10 years old, it may be time for an upgrade that supports your joints properly. Then there's nutrition and exercise. Avoid heavy meals, caffeine, and alcohol in the hours before bedtime. These can all disrupt your ability to fall or stay asleep. On the other hand, regular physical activity, especially during the day, promotes deeper sleep at night. Just avoid vigorous workouts within 2 to 3 hours of bedtime. Lastly, consider natural supplements, but only under the guidance of a healthcare provider. Melatonin, magnesium, or herbal teas like chamomile or valerian root can help, but they're most effective when combined with the lifestyle practices we just talked about. In short, improving sleep naturally is about creating conditions that allow your body and brain to relax and reset. The payoff isn't just better rest, it's stronger muscles, more flexible joints, and greater energy every day.
Are there specific warning signs that someone's sleep quality is interfering with their recovery, even if they think they're sleeping enough?
That's an insightful question, Emily, because many people assume that as long as they're in bed for 7 or 8 hours, they're getting quality sleep. But that's not always the case. Poor sleep quality, not just quantity, can significantly affect how your body heals, particularly as you age. There are several red flags that your sleep may not be restorative. One of the most common signs is morning stiffness that lasts more than 30 minutes. While some stiffness is expected with age, prolonged soreness or achiness upon waking often indicates that your muscles and joints didn't fully recover overnight. Another is persistent fatigue despite getting enough hours of sleep. If you're still groggy during the day or rely on multiple naps or caffeine to stay alert, your sleep may be fragmented or lacking deep stages. You should also pay attention to frequent nighttime awakenings, even if you fall back asleep quickly. Waking multiple times at night disrupts your cycles and limits the duration of deep sleep when most muscle and tissue repair occurs. This can leave you feeling unrefreshed even after a full night in bed. Increased muscle cramps, especially in the legs, are another potential clue. This can stem from a combination of dehydration, poor circulation, and sleep disruptions that affect how your nervous system regulates muscle tone. If you experience nighttime cramps regularly, it could point to a broader sleep quality issue. Mood changes like irritability, anxiety, or brain fog can also reflect poor sleep's impact on recovery. Your brain, like your muscles, needs time to reset during sleep. So if you're more forgetful, short-tempered, or disoriented than usual, that might be a sign that your sleep isn't as restorative as it should be. Lastly, look for unusual sensitivity to pain. If your typical muscle soreness feels more intense, or you find joint pain persisting longer than usual, poor sleep could be amplifying your pain response. If you notice any of these signs, don't ignore them. They may be subtle indicators that your body isn't recovering as it should. Improving sleep quality can be a game changer, not only for how you feel during the day, but for how your body rebuilds itself every night.
This question comes from Janet in Florida. She asks, I've had a hip replacement, and ever since then, I struggle to fall asleep. Is there a connection between post-surgery recovery and sleep?
Absolutely, Janet. Thank you for bringing up such a relevant and common concern. After any surgery, especially something as major as a hip replacement, your body enters a heightened state of stress and inflammation. These physiological changes can directly interfere with your sleep cycles. First, pain is a major factor. Even when pain is managed during the day, it often feels worse at night. Not necessarily because the pain is worse, but because you're lying still, there are no distractions, and your brain focuses on discomfort. This heightened awareness makes it harder to fall and stay asleep. Secondly, inflammation is usually elevated post-surgery. Inflammation affects not just the surgical site, but also the surrounding nerves and tissues. These inflammatory signals, like cytokines and prostaglandins, can interfere with the regulation of melatonin and cortisol, two hormones that influence your sleep-wake cycle. There's also the disruption of routine and mobility. Many post-op patients become more sedentary, and that decreased physical activity during the day reduces sleep drive at night. Add in medications like opioids, which may be prescribed for pain management, and you've got another sleep disruptor on the table.
The key to improving sleep in this context is multifaceted. Pain management should ideally shift towards non-opioid methods, including ice, heat, gentle stretching, and possibly physical therapy. Daily movement, even short walks, helps reestablish your natural sleep rhythms. And developing a calming bedtime routine that includes breathing exercises, gentle stretching, or guided meditation can support your transition into sleep. Most importantly, don't be discouraged. Healing after joint surgery takes time, and so does getting your sleep back on track. If the issue persists, I recommend working with a healthcare provider or sleep specialist who can explore whether underlying conditions like sleep apnea or anxiety are playing a role.
This next question comes from Thomas in Oregon. He asks, I'm 67 and have been waking up multiple times at night with back pain. I've tried different mattresses, but nothing helps. Could this be related to sleep quality, or is it something else?
That's a really important question, Thomas, and one I hear from many patients. Waking up with back pain, especially in the lower back, is a common issue after 60, and it often has more to do with how your body is recovering during sleep than just what you're sleeping on. While mattresses and sleep position do matter, they're only one piece of the puzzle. Repeated nighttime awakenings can disrupt deep sleep, which is when your spine and surrounding muscles undergo critical repair and alignment. If you're constantly coming out of deep sleep, even briefly, your body isn't getting enough time in those restorative phases to reduce inflammation and relax the muscles around the spine. Add in age-related changes in spinal discs and posture can lead to mechanical back stress, especially if you're not moving enough during the day. Sedentary behavior reduces circulation and weakens core muscles that stabilize your spine. Combine that with shallow sleep, and it's a recipe for chronic stiffness and discomfort. My advice? Keep tracking your sleep and try to incorporate a stretching or mobility routine in the evening. Make sure you're walking or engaging in light exercise during the day to keep your spinal muscles active. And if you haven't already, it's worth getting a full spinal assessment to rule out conditions like degenerative disc disease, sciatica, or arthritis. Sometimes what feels like sleep-related pain is actually your body sending a bigger message about underlying joint wear or inflammation. In the meantime, building habits that promote deep, uninterrupted sleep combined with gentle daily physical activity can make a big difference in reducing your pain and improving your sleep.
Dr. Miller, this has been such a helpful and eye-opening discussion. It's clear that sleep is not just a passive process. It's one of the most powerful tools we have to restore and protect our muscles, joints, and energy levels as we age.
Absolutely, Emily. If there's one thing I want our listeners to take away, it's that prioritize your sleep like you would a workout or a doctor's appointment. Your body heals when you rest, especially after 60. Better sleep leads to better recovery, less pain, and more vitality.
Thank you again, Dr. Miller. And to our listeners, if you found today's episode helpful, don't forget to follow Talk to the Doctor for more weekly insights into healthy aging. And remember, every night is a new opportunity to heal. Take care and sleep well.